Hi, I'm Shivali. Welcome to salvagespace.com. Best ways to find the perfect reverse auction opportunity. Below are the top 10 techniques to find the best potential supplier for your organization. These tips are not a rule but just a few suggestions that will help you find the perfect supplier. The dollar sum ought to be adequate to create the enthusiasm of potential suppliers. The sufficient dollar amount will be in respect to the business, yet bigger dollar volumes will produce a considerable measure of interest from numerous suppliers. Also, the more intrigued suppliers you have in a reverse auction, the better. You ought to have no less than 2 qualified suppliers. Have a supplier qualification process or an eligibility criteria for the sellers to realize that their rival is pure blue and to accept your choice procedure. Qualifying your merchants is amazingly vital since you have to have your rival on a level playing field and you don't need below average items or administrations. Write error-free and complete buy details. You ought to know precisely what you need, the amount you need and when you need it, or your suppliers won't have the capacity to offer one type to its logical equivalent. Define and achieve honor criteria. Since most business buys are in view of components other than least value, you ought to characterize, record and make accessible to the suppliers your grant criteria. You ought to have the capacity to tell your merchants precisely what they have to do to win your business. Supplier changeover danger is small. Look for territories where the expense to change suppliers is small. Remember that expenses are not simply a hard dollar figure for the item or administration you need to switch closeout. Think about the various costs included, for example, preparing and similarity issues. Have a decent estimate of the amounts and dollar value. Be certain to total exact information on the amount you, as of now, spend. You ought to have the capacity to record naturally what and the amount you are purchasing so you can give those points of interest as recorded information about potential suppliers. You could be bamboozling yourself and not getting as large a volume marked down as you could be. Only incorporate comparative things in the same offer bundle. While you can have numerous comparable line things in a reverse auction, you don't need random things in the same parcel or basin. Keep different things separate to evade disarray. This will likewise permit suppliers to concentrate on their center capabilities and not preclude them from offering in the event that they don't give one thing in the parcel you are opposite selling. Keep reverse auction underneath 10 line things. You need to keep the offering straightforward, so don't over-confuse it by adding an excess of line items to the reverse auction. You can say, see appended spreadsheet and incorporate numerous comparative things for them to offer on in one general line thing. When you get an excess of line items, the suppliers will lose their center and not be as focused. Clearly characterize another accommodation process. If exchanges, substitutes or alternatives are reasonable, you will need to mark unmistakably what the accommodation methodology is and what those interchanges accessible for all suppliers to offer on. Despite everything, you need an apple-to-apple examination when utilizing converse barters. So, be as clear as could be expected under the circumstances regarding what you will or won't acknowledge as a substitute. You would prefer not to leave a potential supplier oblivious about what substitutes you are willing to accept, or you run the danger of not having an effective opposite closeout. Are there comprehensible edges for the suppliers to contend on? Stay far from utilizing reverse barters on things that have a business exchanged cost. For example, oil and regular gas. You can reverse auction the circulation of these things, however. The thought here is to switch closeout things that have costs set by the choices of individuals and organizations, valuing arrangements, and dodge converse unloading things that have an uninhibitedly exchanged business sector value. For more educational videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll be happy to see you as a registered user with us at www.salvagespace.com. Thank you for watching this video. I'll meet you again in the next video.